So, I'm pretty sure Riot is manufacturing humans on social media. No, seriously, what is going on? I mean, we've seen them do similar things in the past, like create an entire fictional music group. But there are a few things about Seraphine in particular that really scare me. I'm gonna take a shallow dive into some of those ideas now. But first of all, have any of you guys seen this movie? This movie was really weird because everyone looked like this. It was an early adopter of motion capture technology for cinema and was infamous for how uncomfortable it made people feel. The characters in this movie look really real, they do, except they don't. They're examples of an aesthetical theory known as the uncanny valley. Take a look at this robot. Yeah, that's obviously not a human, that's a frickin' robot. And that's also an example of the uncanny valley. And so is this. And this.
Nice. Love it. So where do I go to visit this uncanny valley you speak of?
It's not a real place. It's a theory.
A theory? Then why is it called the uncanny valley? It sounds uncanny.
Good question. It centralizes around the idea of how humans react emotionally to objects that look human. Basically, when you chart those two things on a graph, you get something that looks like this. The closer you get to a real human, the more likable that entity becomes. But there's a little valley near the end of the graph that interestingly shows that if humans aren't quite human, then they become intensely unlikable to us. On the other side of the graph, however, something that doesn't look human at all is perceived positively. Like Pikachu. Enter Seraphine. She seems to be a character, likely made by the video games company Riot to promote something. It's very likely she's attached to League of Legends, but honestly, I'm not as interested in that as I'm interested in what she's doing. Seraphine entered the internet in June of 2020, and she started with a small social media presence on Twitter and Instagram. Over time, she began to grow a following, and people began to be interested in her attachment to Riot and League of Legends specifically. But Seraphine is obviously not real, and yet, look at what she posted. That's a quote-unquote picture of her, yes, but there's something wrong with this image. Pause the video if you want to see what seems to be off. Did you find it? This picture depicts Seraphine, a fictional character, but that couch is real. And more importantly, that person is real. Like, this is an actual person, not a drawing. See that? That's not a part of the couch. That's actually someone's real hair. This picture is a real person, with Seraphine's drawing plastered on top of it. Sure, Seraphine herself isn't really creepy, but why does she exist in the real world? Look at these posts too. A text from her father. A picture of someone's real cat. There's no reason for a fictional character to have an attachment to reality this way. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. What exactly does this look like? That's a real picture, in real life, of a real child, with Seraphine's face plastered onto it. And that's not the only one. Yes, those are real people back there. This is most likely a real photograph that has been modified to become Seraphine. Now, I'm sure some of you aren't unsettled by this at all, and I think that's normal. It's a publicity stunt that follows Riot's tradition of sensationalizing virtual characters. But this is the first time we have a virtual character that is trying to bridge two realities, being human and being fictional. So is Seraphine human? Well, of course not. She's just a virtual character, right?
Of course she's not human. She only exists on social media.
I'll do you one better. Go look up a normal Instagram account and compare them to Seraphine's social media. See any parallels? Riot has deliberately made her with a connection to the real world for a reason. She's humanized.
Yeah, but she's not real. She's a corporate product. And believing otherwise has to be lunacy.
For all intents and purposes, she's a real person in the world of social media.
Are you telling me that there are virtual life forms that exist only on social media that are made by multi-billion-dollar companies for the purposes of advertising a video game?
Maybe. The thing that really scares me about Seraphine is that she has characterized desires. She's portrayed as once being a real human child and existing in liminally occupied spaces in our reality. She's a ghost, existing as a real person in social media, but not in real life. So I wonder if there really even is a difference. I mean, she even has a characterized possible desire to become human. As she longingly journals about the scene in this post, she writes, "It was overwhelming, sweet, and maybe sad, like I was missing something long forgotten. But it was home. So many summers I'd stand alone on the shore and look out at the blue." And trust me, I know this is a stretch, but the way the eyes are positioned to look at the viewer in the journal and how she seeks to find something missing, looking out towards us in our reality, I can't help but feel like Riot is characterizing her with a desire to become real itself. She's already portrayed as existing in our reality and also not existing at the same time. Well, she's clearly a unique entity on social media. She's also a unique example of the uncanny valley.
Whoa, hold on there. She's not applicable to the uncanny valley at all. You said it earlier, the less human they appear, the more likable they seem, and she's obviously not human.
Exactly. Isn't that what makes her so interesting? I mean, she doesn't look human, of course, but she's plastered on real people. She's characterized with desires and problems. She embodies the verisimilitude of real people online.
You know, the more I look at her, the more creeped out I get. She's obviously not human, but kinda human at the same time.
Well, yeah, she doesn't look human, and that's the thing. Maybe she's like a new kind of uncanny, you know what I mean? Maybe, but there are clearly parallels.
I feel like that is true, but also that you're kind of just stringing along ideas into nonsense.
Ultimately, Seraphine is a really strange idea. She's not a part of the uncanny valley in the traditional sense of the theory, but her desire to exist in the real world and to be portrayed as human when she's clearly not is unsettling to me. She is of course not real, but when you contrast her with our actual reality, I find that she may as well be. What do you think the real purpose of Seraphine is? Does she unsettle you in the same way? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in more unsettling stories and angles, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.